Right now, you are wearing something, but did you ever stop to think why?
You probably didn't think about that choice for more than a few seconds this morning.
Maybe you grabbed whatever was closest, or maybe you checked the weather report first. Either way, you put something on before you walked out the door, because humans cover ourselves.
Every culture on Earth, in every climate and era, wears clothes to cover their bodies.
Anatomically modern humans have been around for roughly 300,000 years of recorded human history. You might think early humans started wearing clothes for simple reasons, like modesty or protection.
Our character demonstrates the balance between safety, represented here, comfort, and maintaining a sense of reserve.
When you find out what actually drove early humans to cover their bodies, it changes everything. It changes how you think about fashion, language, culture, and what it means to be seen.
Let's look at the timeline. Modern humans have been around for 300,000 years, but evidence is different.
The oldest evidence we have, like bone needles and hide scrapers, only shows up 120,000 years ago. And even that estimate is generous. Most historians place widespread clothing adoption at 75,000 years ago.
The fibers are then closely analyzed for signs of wear and dye composition, revealing secrets of the past.
We were dealing with thorns, insects, and cold nights, with nothing but our bare, naked bodies. This immediately rules out the most common explanation for why we started wearing clothes: warmth. Yes, humans eventually moved into colder climates where clothing became essential. But clothing came first. Clothing shows up while we were still in the tropics, so warmth matters much later than that.
The next explanation people reach for is protection from thorns, rocks, and insect bites.
If protection were the main reason, clothing would have started on the parts that took the most damage.
Instead, the earliest clothing in almost every culture covered the torso and groin first, the least exposed areas.
That is not purely practical, so it points to something else: the lice theory, which is fascinating.
Back in 2003, a group of geneticists looked at something unexpected: the split between head lice and body lice.
Head lice live in hair, but body lice live in clothing and cannot exist without fabric.
Scientists traced when these two types split, giving a clue about when humans started wearing clothes consistently. The answer is approximately 170,000 years ago, which is the oldest hard biological timestamp we have for clothing. Not some bone needle or scraping tool, but because of a parasite that evolved to live in our clothes. This proves humans wore clothes because something evolved specifically to live in them, but it doesn't tell us why.
It tells us when the behavior was already established, but the actual origin goes back further than we can measure.
The reason lies somewhere deeper than fabric, needles, and lice, pointing to something symbolic, not practical. In 2009, archaeologist Ian Gilligan published a detailed analysis about clothing and how we think.
He suggested that choosing to cover the body isn't just practical, it reflects a deeper kind of thinking. This kind of thinking sets humans apart from other animals, involving memory, planning ahead, and imagining the future.
To wear clothing, you have to imagine a future version of yourself, picture yourself wearing it, and plan ahead. This is the same mental ability we use to keep promises, plan our days, or worry about things not yet happened.
No other animal does this. A chimpanzee doesn't look at a leaf and think about how it could be useful tomorrow. The moment we started clothing our bodies, we were demonstrating for the first time that we could think ahead.
Clothing is one of the earliest physical artifacts of the modern human mind.
But there is something even deeper.
There is something most evolutionary biologists don't talk about when this topic comes up, which is a shame.
It is shame, not in the religious sense, but in the neurological sense, the awareness of being perceived.
The feeling that your body is being observed and evaluated by others is a uniquely human experience. It requires what psychologists call theory of mind, the ability to see yourself through someone else's eyes. Dogs and crows don't have this. Even our closest relatives, chimpanzees, barely show traces of it. Somewhere along the way, humans developed the ability to see ourselves through other people's eyes.
Once that clicked, everything shifted. It wasn't just about surviving anymore. It became about how you looked.
From that point on, clothing wasn't just about covering up. It became a way to shape identity.
It became a way to control your image and signal to others who you are and what you represent.
The first person who wrapped animal skin around themselves wasn't just staying warm, they were choosing how they were seen. Once that idea took hold, it never really went away. You can see it across cultures all over the world. Even in places where clothing wasn't needed for warmth, people still decorated themselves with beads, paint, and feathers. It accelerates during periods when human social groups are becoming more complex, as tribes grew larger and hierarchies formed.
As strangers started interacting with strangers, clothing became a social technology, a system of instant communication.
Before you could speak to someone, their clothing told you who they were, what group they belonged to, and their status. Clothing is language, one of the oldest forms we have, and it applies to you right now.
You get dressed every morning without thinking much about it, but your brain is doing something ancient and social. You are not just picking fabric. You are constructing a version of yourself that you want to project into the world.
You are negotiating between who you are, who you want to be seen as, and what the situation requires.
The anxiety you feel when you are overdressed or underdressed is 170,000 years of social cognition activating.
That is your brain running the same calculation your ancestors ran around the fire thousands of years ago.